Flyweight bout, Casey O'Neill coming in at -195 against Ariane Lipski, sitting at +165. Over under 2.5 rounds, -240 for the over, +200 for the under. Casey O'Neill, 4-1 in her last 5, picked up her first loss of her career last time out against Jennifer Maia. Ariane Lipski, 3-2 in her last 5, and she's on a nice little win streak here. She's 3 years older than Casey O'Neill. Casey O'Neill came off of the knee injury her last time out and picked up her first loss. It was kind of a disappointing loss for her. She just pretty much got outboxed by Jennifer Maia. It was a fight where they landed a ton of significant strikes. 137 for O'Neill, 145 for Jennifer Maia. I think she clearly lost. But before that, wins over Roxanne Manaferi, Antonina Shevchenko, and then 2 girls you probably never heard of. So I don't really know where to price Casey O'Neill because she is still fairly young in her career. And that fight against Jennifer Maia didn't really look like she had much of a game plan. I mean, she just kind of stood up and boxed with her. And she has a decent ground game, but she didn't really look to use it there. Ariane Lipski, 2-fight win streak. She looked really good against JJ Aldrich as a dog. She was a dog again against Melissa Gatto. Got another win by split there. It's an interesting fight. What are you thinking on this one?
Yeah, it's very interesting because for Lipski, she impressed me in the fight against Gatto. Not just because she, won. It was a close fight, split decision, but going up against Gatto, who has power, has got knockouts at this level before, and her only other loss was Tracy Cortez. She went in there and she made Gatto fight off the back foot. She was able to put the pressure on her. She landed some good, significant strikes, landed a takedown, and just showed a good, well-rounded game. And then Aldrich is nothing to, brag about by any means, but she is a fighter who does, rack up wins in the UFC by, being boring. She's not the most exciting fighter. Lipski was able to make her look like an amateur in that fight. Outlanded her by over 50 significant strikes, had a couple of takedowns, and comfortably won the fight. But going up against Casey O'Neill, I think she's got to keep it on the feet because Casey O'Neill is a grappler at her base. She's a good wrestler. She's got great grappling. She doesn't always show it and hasn't really shown it in the UFC. But if she stands and trades with Lipski, it's going to look like a pick'em fight, I think. I don't think it's going to look like Casey O'Neill deserves to be the big favorite. We saw it against Jennifer Maia. She just got outclassed in that fight, in my opinion. She landed some shots, but they just weren't, they weren't replicable of Jennifer Maia's. Maia landed the cleaner ones, the more powerful ones, and was the rightful winner, in my opinion, there too. For O'Neill, though, I don't know if you see this picture floating around Instagram of, the scars and stuff on her knee from the surgery she's had, and somebody with an inside source saying the knee's never going to be the way it was. She's always going to struggle with that kind of injury, and it's never going to be back to 100%. Like, that's a big hit to her if you're this kind of fighter who wants to grapple a little bit, but I don't know how you plant as well in the striking. I don't know if she's going to be as fast twitched, if she's going to have the speed over girls like she has in the past. So that makes me worry against Lipski here too. I think Casey O'Neill has the ability to go out there and win a decision here. But at the price and these odds, I think this is going to look more like a pick'em fight, in my opinion. I don't think this is going to look like Casey O'Neill at a decent-sized favorite here. I do think it could be a buy low spot for her where she's going to bounce back and look way better than she did in the Maia fight. But at the same time, this is women's MMA with one girl in O'Neill who's not that proven and another girl in Lipski who does have knockout losses, decision losses, and a handful of wins too, where you just never really know what you're going to get. For the pick, I'm going to go dog or pass. I'm going to go with Lipski here just because if you're going to give me a decent-sized underdog in a fight where I think the odds should be closer to pick 'em, I got to take the big plus money. So Ariane Lipski's it for me.
Yeah, it's Lipski's had a little bit of a resurgence because early in her career, she took 2 knockout losses to Antonina Shevchenko and Martina De La Rosa, which was kind of just taking her down and beating her up. And it looked like the ground game was just not there whatsoever. Comes back, gets a win against Mandy Bohm. Doesn't matter. Mandy Bohm's pretty bad. And then she takes a knockout loss against Priscilla Cachoeira. And then since then, her last 2 fights, she's looked really good. And she stuffed every takedown. And I think that was a big part of her success. Because if she gets taken down, she didn't really look very good. So I think that's probably something she worked on a lot. And on the feet, she is a very good striker. I mean, she's very good counterpunching. She's fast. She uses her weapons well. She did get outstruck by Melissa Gatto, but still was able to get the win there. Landed the more cleaner shots. Pretty easy win against JJ Aldrich. And going up against Casey O'Neill I think she just tries to get in this like volume type win.
Mm-hmm.
Like, she just goes out there and throws hands, tries to land more than you can. If Lipski wants to win this fight, I think she's got to just counter her very well, like just land the more significant strikes. If she gets into a volume type battle, I think she'll probably lose because Casey O'Neill can rack up the volume very quickly. But if Lipski can stay to the outside, use her movement very well, crack her with some counters, avoid getting taken down, I think she's got a really good shot to win this fight. I think she'll be the pick for me. Casey O'Neill at this chalk, I don't really like him. It's women's MMA. We've seen it like the past how many weeks, this whole year, really. It's like you're probably better off just taking the dog in women's MMA fight. So I'll take Ariane Lipski for the pick.